Breaking news now. Prigozhin, former mercenary leader of Russia and now an enemy of the Kremlin. Russia's investigative committee confirmed on Sunday that mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin had died in a plane crash near Moscow. He had become infamous as a result of his decision to lead his troops in an attack on the Russian capital. Putin has been in power for over 2 decades, but in June, Prigozhin issued an order for his private fighting group to march on Moscow in an attempt to unseat Russia's top brass. After taking over a key military headquarters in the southern Russian city of Rostov-on-Don, his forces headed north toward Moscow, where authorities had bolstered security in preparation for a showdown. After Prigozhin claimed the defense ministry had launched strikes on Wagner bases, he declared, "The evil that the military leadership of the country brings must be stopped." However, after the failed attempt, Putin offered exile in neighboring Belarus to the mutineers and Prigozhin, who later appeared on camera promising to make Africa freer, and hinting that he was already there. The 62-year-old mercenary leader, Prigozhin, sent members of his private force to conflicts in the Middle East and Africa but always denied involvement until Putin, who accused Prigozhin of treason, ordered troops to Ukraine in February of last year. After declaring himself the leader of the Wagner Group last year, he began a massive recruitment drive in Russian prisons, offering amnesty to inmates who agreed to fight in exchange for their freedom. Acrimonious competition at the highest levels. Wagner's leadership in the capture of several strategically important Ukrainian towns, including Bakhmut, earned him widespread acclaim. However, Prigozhin began criticizing what he claimed to be widespread instances of dishonesty and incompetence within the Russian Defense Ministry. Prigozhin's ragtag forces led the costly battles for limited gains in eastern Ukraine, but he was locked in a bitter power struggle with the Defense Ministry for months. Previously, he had claimed that the Russian military was attempting to steal victories from Wagner and had criticized Moscow's monstrous bureaucracy for slowing down progress on the ground. And he pointed the finger squarely at Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and other high-ranking officials, saying that Moscow had not supplied enough ammunition, leading to the deaths of his fighters. Prigozhin, who was stocky and bald, was often photographed with mercenaries who claimed to be on the front lines, in contrast to the generals of Russia who have been accused of avoiding combat. He challenged Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to an aerial duel by posting photos from inside an Su-24 fighter jet on social media. Putin's hometown of St. Petersburg is home to a hot dog vendor who, for years, denied any connection to Wagner despite spending nearly a decade in prison during the Soviet era. But in September of last year, he came clean about being the one who established the military outfit with its headquarters in St. Petersburg. In a video that has since gone viral, a man who looks a lot like Prigozhin stands in a prison courtyard and offers contracts to inmates under chilling conditions to fight in Ukraine. Deserters being shot? The man warned, "We will regard it as desertion and shoot you if you arrive in Ukraine and decide it is not for you." In response to footage of the sledgehammer execution of an alleged Wagner deserter, Prigozhin said the man in the video was a dog, and praised the killing. From humble beginnings in the former imperial capital of Russia, Prigozhin has risen to join Putin's inner circle. After serving 9 years in prison for fraud and theft during the collapse of the USSR, he launched a moderately successful fast food chain during the chaos of the 1990s. Accidentally, he entered the restaurant business, opening a high-end establishment in St. Petersburg that was frequented by Putin before he left the KGB for local politics. Prigozhin was dubbed Putin's chef, due to the fact that the company he co-founded did contract work for the Kremlin. The precise size of Prigozhin's fortune, which is said to have been amassed through state contracts, is unknown. In 2011, he visited the Kremlin and provided Putin with a dish while bending over him and giving him an appreciative glance in one of the most iconic images ever taken there. The troll mill. After being accused of orchestrating an online troll factory to influence the 2016 U.S. presidential election, Washington took action against him. In 2020, Prigozhin demanded $50 billion in compensation from the United States, despite at the time denying any involvement. In July of 2018, an ambush killed 3 reporters for an investigative media outlet who were covering Wagner's activities in the Central African Republic. France ended its nearly decade-long military operation in Mali because of accusations from the West that a private fighting group had helped the country's military junta.